All right, so we're getting started here this beautiful May 22nd morning in 2018. Good morning, everyone. My name is Liz Garcia. I am founder of the MindBodySpiritNetwork.com and the AthenaArena.com. And this is our weekly online meetup group where we get together for business networking and collaboration and learning. So today's topic is about the sales funnel. Like, what the heck is a sales funnel? And then what are the stages for building that sales funnel? And that is kind of an important part of your online marketing efforts and lead generation efforts and sales efforts. So that's what we're going to do today. And I'm going to share my screen. What is a sales funnel? It's kind of boring, and what are their stages? This is the topic for today. So there's going to be two parts to this presentation. And the first part is really just understanding the basic funnel. And then the second part is going to be the different stages, the different steps you have to take in order to create the funnel for your own business. So we're going to just start with the basics. A sales funnel is also known as a revenue funnel or your sales process. In other words, it's the buying process companies lead customers through when purchasing products or services. So how are you going to get someone in the door to want to buy from you? So this simple little funnel here that you're seeing, it starts with awareness. So this is people that do not know you at all would start at the top of the funnel. And then how are you going to attract them into the next stage of the funnel? Then the next stage after awareness, as you can see, is consideration. They're going to convert. They're going to purchase something. They're going to engage with you. Then after they engage with you, you want to retain them and have them be ongoing clients. You can sell them more services, and then they become advocates of yours or a referral base, and they connect you with others. So this is kind of, sophisticated. It's not sophisticated, it's really what's going on. Whether you are aware of it or not, there's different stages of kind of attracting and engaging people into becoming clients. So I just went through these stages with you, and I'm not going to do it again, but I wanted to show you a close-up of this image as well. So these are the different levels of, this is like a metaphysical thing. You're starting to metaphysically and energetically connect with people. They're getting to know you. They're wanting to understand more. And then they're finally buying from you or not, depending on if there's a good match. So TOFU is called the top of the funnel. And I got this little thing from digitalmarketer.com because I follow them and they're extremely successful online marketers, and they've coined the phrase top of funnel, I think, or maybe they didn't. Maybe that's what everybody uses. So TOFU is the top of the funnel, and this is where you're starting to build awareness. And if you're running paid ads, like on Facebook or Google AdSense or anywhere online, this is where you find cold traffic or people that don't know you at all. So top of the funnel is running ads or messaging to cold traffic people that don't know you. And at this stage, you're just educating people very simply. And you don't want to bog them down with too much information. You want it to be, the interaction to be quite minimal and just getting people in the door. So there's ways of getting people in the door. And I apologize, my screen is not moving forward. Okay. So I just want to talk about the top of funnel audience, or the TOFU audience. Again, they're total strangers. And if you're running Facebook ad campaigns, you would create what's called a saved audience, or you'd create lookalike audience. And I'm sure all other social media platforms where there's paid ads available, you can do the same thing. So a saved audience is an audience you create based on interests, behaviors, demographics. You don't know these people yet. You're just guessing as to who they might be. And then if you already have an audience, like let's say in Facebook, you can import your mail list, and Facebook can take a look at that list, and then they can build a lookalike audience based on that list as long as those email addresses match up with a Facebook member already. So this is a top of funnel audience is someone you don't know, you're just guessing who they might be. Okay, so in the sales funnel, when you're just beginning, you need to generate leads. So you've got to come up with a strategy to generate leads. And typically a lead magnet would be created, which is a piece of content you give away for free. So a typical lead magnet for a cold audience, remember these people at the top of the funnel, would be very simple, like a resource guide, a checklist, cheat sheets, ebooks, maybe. I don't know about ebooks, but people are still using them. The problem with ebooks is they require too much engagement, as opposed to a checklist could be a one-page PDF. That doesn't take a lot of anyone's time. Just make sure it's super valuable. Also, inviting someone to read a blog post, that's very interesting. A webinar is considered another cold audience lead magnet. But again, you're asking people for more investment in their time when you invite them into a webinar. And finally, just a consultation is also considered a lead magnet, depending on what audience you're targeting. It may not be appropriate for all audiences. For B2B type of businesses, a consultation is appropriate because that's kind of a natural lead in to having a conversation. So I just want to reiterate, an ebook is not necessarily a good lead magnet for a cold audience because it does require too much investment in somebody's time. And take a look at yourself. If I get an ebook, I typically don't look at it at all. I put it in a file, assuming I'm going to look at it somewhere down the line. All right, so I'm going to stop for 1 second and see, does anyone have any questions about the top of funnel at all? And what that all means. All right, I think we're good. Oh, go ahead, Lisbeth.
An ebook, what is that? Is it like is that also like a PDF that, I got a PDF on 8 or 9 pages.
Yeah.
That is too much.
It's kind of too much.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it's not too much, but you got to remember, if it takes, people are going to put it aside. I would start with a 1-page PDF, Lisbeth, with super, just really strong bullet points. So you get them to download the 1-page list, and then your email follow-up series could then go into each detail of that list, which I was going to get to later in the presentation. But I think a good strategy is to take that ebook, boil it down to a list, a checklist, a downloadable checklist that's valuable, and then the follow-up autoresponder series. Let's say you have top 7 tips, blah, 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 is the downloadable thing, or top 10. And then the opportunity is to go into each list bullet item in an individual email, so you don't overwhelm people with an ebook. That would be kind of a strategy I would recommend for beginners.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So you follow that?
Liz,
yes.
I've got another question.
Yes.
My question is so I've developed a lead magnet, but I'm wondering if it's similar to what you're talking about with an ebook, in that it's a 5-day series follow-up email for them to get all of the information.
Oh, good.
They have an initial download, but the follow-up emails walk them through.
Good. So how big is the download? Like 1 page?
It maybe 2. At the most, it's a 3-page PDF. I don't think it's that long.
And how long would it take someone to consume it, do you think?
Oh, it's very quick. It's basically an acronym, and it's a 5-letter acronym, and that's why there's 5-letter or 5-day follow-up email.
Oh, good. Well, so you're doing what I'm suggesting, essentially.
Okay.
If there's any way you could boil it down to 1 page, though, it would be helpful.
Okay.
Because, if I see that there's a 3-page document, unless it's, big fonts and large type, that I don't know, if you could boil it down so that someone will consume it right away. That's my concern, is that someone, you, and I know that I'm like, I don't know if I'll take the time right that second, which is when I'm getting these things, or not. So I want you to kind of take that roadblock down and tighten it up if you can, and then do the email follow-up.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
Just for now. That longer ebook would come, you could send to people that already know you. That would be the next step, which is what we're talking about next, is the middle of the funnel, where people already know you and now they want to engage further. So this could be where that ebook would come in handy, because they do want to know more and they're more engaged with you now. So let me talk about this and then we can come back.
Okay.
All right. So next part of the funnel is called the middle of the funnel, or MOFU. And this is where prospects are in the consideration stage. They have some information they want to compare, but they're not ready to buy. They're just thinking about it. So if you're running paid ad campaigns, whether it's on Facebook, Google AdWords, it doesn't matter where, this is where you're going to find warm traffic, or people that have already encountered you before. And at this stage, people are more engaging, and you're engaging more people. And now their interest and their requirement is considered medium, meaning that this is where Stephanie's ebook would come in handy, because now they're willing to take a little extra time to consider what she has to offer. So this is the middle of the funnel. So I'm going to base the middle of the funnel audience. How do you create that audience is based on Facebook ads. If you've done any Facebook advertising, and I'm sure all other platforms have similar abilities to create audiences, but Facebook does it outstandingly, and that's why I'm going to talk about Facebook ads. So a middle of a funnel audience is people that have already landed on your website. They've been to your website before, or your landing page. And in online marketing, there's this code that you would embed on a landing page or your website, so that Facebook, as the example here, would pick up, they would track that customer having gone to your website, and they'll start building audience, and they'll say, okay, Cheryl went to the website, Susie Q went to the website, Joe went to the website, and they collect that data. And when you look at your Facebook ad campaigns, you'll see this, you'll create this audience that Facebook will create for you, but you have to set it up. You're going to set up a custom audience that audience is going to say, I want you to create an audience for everyone that lands on this URL or this web address. You put the code on the web address, and now Facebook is going to gather that information to create this middle of funnel audience for you. Another middle of funnel audience is your own email list. So Facebook has the capability of importing your email list to a Facebook audience, so that now you can run ads to people that know you. And this is where Stephanie could run that ebook as her middle of funnel offering to people that already know you. So, and this is what's called retargeting audience. So if you're running a top of funnel ad on Facebook, and you're picking up all these people that are landing on these landing pages, now you can rerun the next level of engagement with them. And this is called retargeting audience that you're hitting, which you really, this is where it gets more valuable. Your return on investment gets much higher when you start speaking to people that want to engage with you. Okay. So typical content to a middle of funnel audience would be a video series. Now this is more engaging as opposed to a one-page PDF. So you get someone engaged in your one-page PDF. Now you can say, hey, why don't you take my video series or e-course? And again, a consultation is also appropriate here. And I would probably put an ebook in here as well. Although I think the video series or e-course based on the book is probably a better strategy, because video is more, and it's a better return on investment when you're doing video, and you can really show people your stuff in video series. And make sure those video series at the middle of funnel level are not too extensive. So You could run a 7-day email campaign where each day was a different series or a piece of video content, but make sure it's not too much longer than 10 or 15 minutes. Just get people engaged in hearing your voice and seeing who you are. All right, so that's typical content for middle of funnel. Is there any questions about the middle of funnel while I'm here? I will stop for a minute. Oh, little Miss Kana Kubota showed up. Yay, Kana. Okay, I have no questions on the middle of funnel. That's good. And I may just do part 1 of this series today because it's a lot to take in, and then call it a day and make part 2 the next part, because it's a lot to understand. And I do want you guys to understand this part of the process. You got to engage people where they're at. You don't want to send, cold traffic a $2,500 buy-in. You're asking an awful lot of cold traffic to just buy something for that much money or whatever, and they don't even know you. So I want you to understand the process and the audience and really realize that metaphysically you're not connected to them yet. So don't try to force it. It's like, Ryan Dice from Digital Marketers, like, you don't go out on a blind date and ask someone to marry you. It's the same thing. You got to warm them up. Okay, so we're going to get to the bottom of the funnel here. So this is where prospects are in the decision stage. They're comparing they're comparing you to others, and they're considering your price versus other pricing and what you have to offer. And if we're running paid ad campaigns, this is where you find hot traffic or people that know you. People are much more engaging at this stage, and their requirement for engagement is higher. Okay. So a typical bottom of funnel audience is considered hot traffic. They are red hot. They know you. They love you. Most of them are your current customers. They've already bought from you, and they're being retargeted after they've already engaged in a medium form of engagement. So on Facebook ads, you'd have a tracking pixel on those video courses that you're sharing, for example. And Facebook would pick up, okay, Susie Q went and watched your video course. She's now a bottom of funnel audience. And they're going to build this hot traffic audience for you so that you can re-engage them with another type of ad campaign. So this is where you're working people up to. And you don't have to start at the cold traffic stage if you already have a list. They're already warm and hot traffic. So it's always advisable to market to your current buyers first, because the buyers that are on your list already are 20 times more likely to buy from you than anybody else. So if you want to generate revenue, and I learned this in the retail business, go after people that have already bought from you first and get the ball rolling. And then you can get it. If you don't have the budget or the wherewithal to start from the beginning with cold traffic, use your own email list and your own audience first. And I meant to have this typical content for bottom of funnel. Typical content would be to send people right to, ignore this. Typical content for bottom of funnel would be to send people to a webinar where it leads to a sale. So a webinar is an appropriate piece of content. A consultation is an appropriate piece of content. And middle of funnel and bottom of funnel, you could do the same type of things, but it's a more engaging level. So I'm going to stop at this one because part 2 is going to take me much longer than this. And I want to end here where you guys can just kind of take this all in. And the sale funnel stages, I will do in another presentation, probably in a month or so. We'll go through the second part of this, because the stages for top of funnel, and this is where it gets a little complicated, will be the same as everything else, but you got to create a whole new funnel for each stage. And there is a way to simplify this, but I just want you to make you aware that if you're a company with all the resources, they're going to go through this process because their return on investment it gets higher and higher the more fine-tuned you get in the whole process. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen and we'll continue this in another presentation. So I'm going to unmute everybody. And if anyone has questions, please feel free to ask. And it's 7 minutes to 10. So I'm meeting my intention of getting out of here by 10 o'clock today. So,
Liz, I've got a question.
yes.
So for example, my new service offering for setting up Acuity Scheduler, I've kind of gone through and broken out what are the different pieces that go into that setup. And my thought was to start doing little video snippets, honestly, to train people on how to do it if they wanted to do it themselves. But again, you know, little snippets like you're saying, I would hope they wouldn't be over 10 minutes long, and then have that, and I got to figure all this out. You already know, but figure it out how to tie that to my landing page that I'm creating.
Yep. So a good start, I love that you're offering this service, Stephanie. So I think something to think about is maybe your first lead is pointing out like a downloadable cheat sheet of the top the top functionality pieces of Acuity that are really compelling, which I love. You know, people don't understand it. I think if you know Acuity, you got to really point out the functionality that most people won't take the time to learn. So that could be like the first one where you have a downloadable sheet and a video that talks about the key points of Acuity as an example, and then have some little snippets of showing people how to do it. And you know that most people will do the simple stuff, but I think they're going to want to hire you to help them finish it. But just show them that you know your stuff. And how does that sound?
Yeah, no, that sounds good. It's all new.
Yeah.
And so I'm just about done with the landing page, creating that. And so this is helpful. I wasn't really sure, you know, so I'm using ConvertKit, and you have the ability in ConvertKit to have like, so how does that work? They click on it, and then it gives them another option to go to do an additional thing. Like, let's say if they're going to sign up for my newsletter, but instead they could be signing up to get this cheat sheet.
Yeah, don't do newsletters.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that that's the way that they just that concept, right? Where they get to a certain page.
Okay. So when you send them to a landing page, Stephanie, don't give them two options, give them one.
That is correct. No, I'm absolutely doing that.
Okay, good. So I like the cheat sheet idea, and I like the idea of you giving them snippets of training, but don't give away the farm.
Yeah.
Acuity does that. Let them do it.
Yeah.
You just get them started in the door and wanting to work with you, and that's sufficient.
Okay.
Because I just want them to hear your voice and see you providing valuable stuff. That's all you really need to do.
Okay.
Yeah. But I like that you're doing this. I think it's a valuable service, and maybe you learn a couple other of the scheduling, because they're all similar. You could just learn a couple of the other ones just so that if people have preferences, you're there for them regardless.
Yeah, and that's absolutely true. I mean, it's the same thing with the CRM. Regardless, they all have similar functionality. It's just what functionality are you wanting for your workflow?
Right. So make sure you mention that somewhere, that it doesn't, you know, it doesn't matter if it's Acuity or any other type of scheduling platform. I can help you with the process of setting it up. And Stephanie, I'm sure you could go into anyone. A lot of people already have their own scheduling, what they don't use fully. So let them know that, you know, I or you, because we both know this stuff, could just go into that platform on their user and figure it out for them. And maybe you don't charge for the first whatever to figure it out, but then you set them up after that or whatever. But keep that doorway open, because there are so many platforms to use.
Okay. That's good advice. Thank
you. But I think it's a great simple service for you to offer to get people in the door. This is a top of funnel offering, if you ask me, which is simple, doesn't require a lot of investment, and they get to know you, and then they're like, okay, help me with the next step. which is the CRM.
Okay, I love that. Thank you.
Yeah. And how are you liking ConvertKit? Well, I've got you.
You know, it's not, I don't find it's not easy for me to work in it. It has some limitations where you need to know CSS code to get some of the customization that you want.
Really?
From what so I'm certain, yeah, I mean, so what I've done is I have Thrive themes on my WordPress site, and they have their own landing pages, and they are a lot friendlier. So I'm kind of playing around with the two of them to see. I'm probably going to let go of my ConvertKit, which I invested in, and I haven't really used it, and stay with the landing pages and Thrive theme. They're a lot easier to work with. So I'm sure, I don't know. I mean, so I can't really give you a good assessment of it because I couldn't figure out how to set some things up that I wanted.
Yeah, that's an indicator right there. And you're computer savvy too. So if you're having trouble, yeah. I'm looking into Thrive as well. I've been using lead pages for a long time, but it's just not worth the investment at the moment. And I like what Thrive is doing because it has all the analytics you need.
Now, and I'm still learning that piece there, but what I love about it is I bought their entire suite. And so I have everything. It was a very minimal investment.
Yep.
And it's so simple. Their Thrive architect to build the web pages.
Yeah.
Really friendly.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, so we're plugging Thrive right now because I think it's easy, and I think it has everything that others have, and it's a lot easier, especially if you have a WordPress website. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So if no one else has questions, we're going to wrap it up here. Unless someone has questions. 1, 2, 3, no one have questions. All right. I'm going to stop the recording and thank